talk today, some of you may at some point have heard it, but I bring up on New Year's once in a while a story, which I'll get to as soon as I pull it up. Let's see. You know, it's a story regarding this time of year. For me, I always get that sense, as so many of us do. I can't be the only one, because even, you know, I walk the dog and I hear my neighbors talking about it. And there's something about a new year that is the perfect beginning to a new you. And of course, that's the little slogan right now, a new year, a new you, 2022. And it's a great time for our New Year's resolutions, and whether you participate in something like that or call it by a different name, it's just a wonderful time to look back and kind of assess what we've been doing. And I think I remember giving a talk for CSL Paradise at the end of 2020. And I know that there was this sense or feeling that 2021 was going to be different. Everything was going to change and COVID was going to be over and, you know, all these things. And I remember asking them, is it going to be different? Is it out there going to be different? Or are we in here going to create some changes, right? When we wait for things to change out there, we can be pretty disappointed. You know, expecting something to change out there is putting our attention on the future. It's really placing our attention onto something we hope, we wish, we want, but really taking us out of the present moment with what is. And, you know, COVID is, it's okay. We can say it. We can say the flu is, and bacteria is, and virus is, and you know, things are there, whatever's in our path, you know, allergic reactions, you know, this is what is. And sort of like Elisa was allowing us to witness earlier, it's what is, and there's no sense in really being that frustrated about it, because but it is important to face it and to deal with it. You know, fix the volume or change this. What can we change? What can we do? Well, in our teaching, we know that when we go to consciousness first, when we turn within first, we can create miracles. We can create healing. We can change situations and events and circumstances in our life. We can awaken to our peace, regardless of what is happening out there. We can awaken to joy, the joy that is unbounded by circumstances. We can awaken to the truth of our being, the nature of our being. And again, this time of year is great for evaluating what has been, we can just look back and look at gently, lovingly, what has been. Is there anything we want to change, anything we want to do? But I was just reading again that after 6 weeks, most people they're not even living or thinking about, they have completely let go of their New Year's resolutions. And why is that? You know, we can look at why other people do that, but why do we let go of what we want? And it just begs the question that why so many of us are not able to accomplish our New Year's resolutions, and why don't they work for so many people? Forbes reported that less than 25% of people actually stay committed to their resolutions after 30 days, and only 8% next year, only 8% of people who made New Year's resolutions will be able to say, yes, I did it. Why do we fail? Well, the question reminds me of the story of an old monk and a young seeker. A young spiritual seeker came looking for enlightenment, and he moved to the village of an old holy man, an old saint. And one evening, the old saint was sitting in the doorway of his hut at sunset. And the old man's dog was stretched out across the threshold, and the young seeker came to ask him a very earnest question. The young man said, "Why is it that so many seekers come to this holy village with the greatest intention? They want to pray, they want to learn, become one with God. They want enlightenment. They want what you have. But then they leave after a month or 2 months or 6 months, but very few people make it to a year." The young man said, "But others like you stay intent upon knowing the truth for a lifetime." Well, the old saint smiled and said, "Let me tell you a story, like old saints do." The saint said, "One day I was sitting here in the late afternoon, just like I am now. And my old dog was laying across the threshold in the waning sunlight, just like he is now. And suddenly, a big white rabbit leapt out in front of us and ran across the yard. We couldn't believe our eyes. And that old dog jumped up and he took off, barking, running wildly after that big white rabbit. He chased that white rabbit with a passion over the hills, through the creek beds, and soon you could hear in this little village the other dogs were joining him, attracted by the loud and excited barking. What a sight, this pack of dogs running through the village, chasing this white rabbit through the stony embankments, across the open fields, around the huts, into the bushes. But gradually, all the other dogs, one by one, dropped out of the pursuit of this big white rabbit. Exhausted, tired, a little beaten up, a little discouraged and frustrated. "Only my dog," said the old saint, continued the chase of that big white rabbit. And that, young man, is the answer to your question. Well, maybe like you, the young man and I thought for a while, and we're still confused. Abba, what is the connection between the rabbit being chased and the search for enlightenment? You fail to understand, said the old saint, because you fail to ask the right question. Why didn't the other dogs continue the chase? Why did they drop out? And the answer to that question is, only my dog had seen that big white rabbit. Maybe the other dogs had caught a scent or got caught up in the barking and the excitement of the chase, but they didn't have the vision. They didn't have the experience of the big white rabbit. And this story, it reminds me that unless we are passionate about what we are after, about the chase or the change, it's too difficult unless we have a clear understanding, an experience, an insight, that vision that pulls us forward. We'll get frustrated. We may drop out. We'll stop searching. We'll give up on our New Year's resolutions. if we're deciding to create changes to please someone else, the parents or the kids, the partner, we're going to lose heart if we're doing something for someone else. If we're running with the pack, doing what others are doing, we won't have the vision or the determination or the passion to commit to creating the changes in our lives. What happens in March when no one's at the gym or walking on the beach? They've lost that vision of themselves being happier and healthier. When people stop dieting, they've lost the vision of themselves healthier and happier and stronger. They've lost the vision. We need that clear, strong vision, that big white rabbit. It's a new year, a new beginning. And we let go of what no longer serves us. And we create a vision with clear understanding of what we want. More peace, more joy, more abundance, more well-being. And we become inspired so that we can stay the course, even when the journey gets hard. When the old habits kick in, they're so strong, that conditioning, even when we think we've lost our way. And what is inspired but being in spirit? Enthusiasm is being in theos, in God. Those are such powerful words. And here's the good news. We don't have to wait for the big white rabbit to jump out and be inspired, right? We get to create the vision that we want. We create it in consciousness first. We turn to source first. We turn and awaken that greater idea of who and what we are. We're not waiting for the white rabbit or the lottery or whatever that is. We're not waiting for something to change out there. We turn within. We create consciously the changes we wish to see in our life. What do we wish for? What can we envision for ourselves? And it really becomes that vision which sustains us through letting go of the old habits. We call that, our previous conditioning. What we've been doing for 20 years or 50 years. What have we been doing that no longer serves us? But see, God, spirit as us, is more powerful than any precedent. God is not bound by precedent. Spirit as us is never bound by our past conditioning, our past fears, our past results, triggers, nothing. If we turn within and allow the vision of our highest self to come through a few times a day, any past conditioning is dissolved in that vision. Anytime we need it, it is available. We turn within, we stand in the kingdom of heaven, and we are inspired in spirit. We become present in spirit. And we are consciously creating the changes we wish to see in our life. And I don't care who you are, how old you are, their spirit is always expanding itself through us. There is something more for us to experience, whether that's more peace, more love, more joy, more wealth, more well-being, more abundance. And we know that we can create that. Oh, big white rabbit called Max. That old dog could have sat on the porch when that white rabbit popped up. He could have remembered all the other times that he had chased a rabbit, a squirrel, and never caught it. You know, he could have stayed comfortable, secure on the porch, but where's the adventure? Where's the adventure in that? You know, we're like that. Sometimes we'll stay comfortable rather than risk expanding. You know, but I believe that we come together in a group like this today, every Sunday. Some of us call each other, we have prayer partners. It is not to necessarily stay comfortable, but to actually become all that we are meant to be. Spirit expanding. And when we think about something expanding, if it's not expanding, it's not living in the way I talk about spirit. It's always becoming more and more of itself in realization. Spirit is the changeless, unchanging, but our realization of it is expanding. And so when we connect with the eternal source, with all that there is, we live in that place of enlightenment. You know, we are filled with that light of the vision of who and what we are, and all the little things that no longer serve us. We can really feel them melting away. There's not a lot of effort in letting them go. We can just stand, stay, rest in spirit, in light, in the truth of our being. We step out of everything that has bound us before, and we envision the changes we wish to see, and we feel the inspiration fill us up, and that is our white rabbit. So in a month, we were going to do it yesterday, but in a month from now, if you don't have that clear vision, we'll do the visioning workshop, we'll create the vision board, and that is something visual to remind you of the vision that you have when you turn within. And we can look at it every day, put it somewhere where you can see it every day. But I invite you to journal your vision. Find a prayer partner that will inspire you. When the road is steep, or when you've turned into the thorns or the brambles, we'll create a vision board. And here's the key. You know, all of this is available to us right now in this moment, this eternal moment right here, right now. The greatest vision of ourself is unfolding right here and now, and we can claim our good right now. The only good that is available to us is available right now, and then we say yes to it. So when so much is uncertain for 2022, we're not going to depend on what's out there to create the changes that we want to see. Let's create a powerful vision of peace for ourselves. Peace within, the peace that cannot be bothered by anything that is happening around us. And joy that is unbounded. No matter how bound our lives can get, our joy is unbounded. Our creativity is unlimited. And so we step out of the limitations of what we can't do, or we're not allowed to do, what our bodies are no longer able to do, and we step into the unlimited creativity of source within. It's always available. Nothing can distract us from our big white rabbit. And my invitation to you is to do something different. Something different. Instead of creating a New Year's resolution, we're going to turn within and create the New Year's inspiration, the big white rabbit. And we'll carry this amazing vision of our greater expression into our tomorrows. into this new year. And through the dialogue, little meditation and dialogue we're about to have, let's support each other. Let's remind each other of who we are. Let's be able to speak about this to each other, because sometimes we can't speak to other people in this way, like my neighbors or my family even. But we can do that with each other. We can say, hey, I know who you are. I know the truth of you being. I know that you are unlimited, unbounded. I know that you are eternal. And we lift each other up. Are you with me? Are you in? Now you know why I love the big white rabbit story. My big white rabbit.